Hello and welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage and today we're going to be looking at Ethereum. Before we jump into the price action, I'd like to say thank you for watching. If you're enjoying the content, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video and leave us some feedback down below. Okay, so let's get into it. We've put to bed that idea that we could have had an extension here, and like we were saying for a while now, this could have been the top here, and for the most part, it does seem to be that way. So now, what I'm looking for within the structure to the downside is, it is quite choppy in this top half here, and potentially we could still just have a corrective move to the downside here. So I'm keeping an eye on that. There is also, however, the potential that we could be getting some extension in here. This is particularly behaving quite impulsively, which could then be setting us up for the idea that we could actually have some potential extension in here, and then we could actually be looking at it rather as an impulse to the downside. So we're going to go over this count. Alternatively, this could just be an ABC pattern, and then we could be either looking. The thing is, if this is just an ABC pattern, the way that it's come down here, I would be still anticipating the potential to actually come back up, get rejected, and then look to continue to break down deeper, potentially coming a bit lower down here towards this 50% at this 1367 to this lower range here of this 1293 zone at that 618. So we'll have to obviously give it some space here, but this is still something that is potentially possible. Even if we do come back up in a three-wave move, potentially we could see further rejection here and actually look to push down deeper. So we've been talking about that possibility that this could be at the end of a correction here to the upside. So we need to just bear in mind if this zone here fails, this 1488 to this 1192, then potentially we are looking to actually come down and look to break this 1075 zone. That becomes more probable if we lose this 1192 zone. For as long as we hold that though, we can potentially look for support to come in this area. So keep an eye on this zone. This 1448 to this 1192 region is where we are looking as potential support within this move. Okay, so now how can we look at this move to the downside? So we're talking about that potential for looking at it as a corrective move. And basically within this structure, what we're looking for, I'm actually going to delete some of these earlier subwaves here just to neaten it up a bit. Basically, we're looking at this as an A, this is a B, and then potentially looking for this as a C wave. So the structure here is a little bit strange. This does look like we are actually extending in the fifth wave here. So I'm a bit cautious because what it could mean is that actually we do have further extension in here, and this is 1, 2, 1, 2, and then actually we're only in the third wave now. We'll get a fourth and a fifth, an additional fourth and a fifth. So it's hard to do these. It's hard to count these in real time. As you're getting these extensions, the other way of looking at it potentially is that this would be an A, B, and then a C to the downside. So we're going to have to give it a bit of space. So we're going to talk about potential invalidations of these moves as we go through the different counts. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this box here. I don't need this anymore. The way that I'm looking at this currently within this structure is if I just turn this extension on here. I was initially looking at this potentially as a triangle in here, but I'm starting to think rather that what we have is a diagonal here where this becomes a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 into this low. So this becomes another 1 and a 2 in here. And then actually that would fit in with this extension. Either that or you'd have to count this basically as having a 1, 2, 1, 2. So I mean both ways are possible, but it's gonna depend on whether we get additional fourth and fifth waves in here. Otherwise we would look at this fourth wave as A, B, C, D, and then E wave. This E wave just slightly breaks the C wave. So it's not ideal, but for the most part, it is still possible. So that's the way I'm currently looking at it. So within this structure, what I'm looking at is basically that this is all a 1, a 2, and then potentially we're looking for this fourth and a fifth wave here. So we want to see something a bit more substantial here. We want to see something play out like this, where it takes a little bit of time to actually develop here, and looking for this fourth wave. So this fourth wave zone we'd be looking for would be potentially this 1439 to this 1475. If we do move above this 1475 zone, then it becomes less likely that it is doing exactly what I've got marked out here. And it could be setting up for an additional 1 and a 2, for instance. As long as we don't cross this high point, we need to be careful of extension to the downside. So as long as we stay below this 1546 region, we need to be cautious because we could start to see further extension down. So what I'm currently looking at is, if this is a ABC to the downside, looking at this as a C wave, this whole move to the downside here, what we'd be looking for is an area of interest to me is actually this 1618, which is this 1398 region, and basically that's looking at this as an A, B, and then potentially a C. If we actually do move down to this 1398 region, and then we move back to the upside, and we come higher than this zone here of this 1557. Basically, so that would be this A wave over here. Um, what that would do, it would validate the more bearish comp that we're going to go over in a second. So if we do actually then come down one more time here for a fifth wave, and then from this zone look to retrace to the upside in a three-wave move, up past this A wave, then we would have to treat this just potentially as an A, a B, and a C. Obviously, we'd have to be a little bit cautious within the structure that we don't, that this doesn't become a 1 and a 2 again. But basically, this is what I'm currently tracking. I think that if this fails to be a bigger five-wave move down, then potentially this could become an A wave. Like I said, looking to target around that 1398 at that 1618 region, and then potentially looking for this move to come back to the upside for a B wave. If we're looking at this as a bigger five-wave move and looking for this as a B wave to the downside, technically speaking, this would be enough because it would have taken us into the zone. But lengthwise, it would probably be neater for it to actually have another move up here and then actually continue down after that point. So you'd have to be careful if we do move down into this region in the zone of this 1665 to this 1566 region. This could then make an A wave to the downside. We come back up for a B wave, and then we either form a five wave move down for a C wave, potentially looking to target lower down in this region of this 1293 to this 1192. Or alternatively, we could be looking at the more bearish count. So we're going to go over that in a second. So the key thing within the current structure here that we've got is a move past this zone here of this 1523. That would actually invalidate this white fourth and fifth wave to the downside, and then we'd have to start looking at the count differently, and then potentially this A wave could be here, and we could look for this potential to push to the upside here. Though really, like I said, until we actually break back above this wave 2, we need to be careful because there could be further extension playing out here to the downside. Okay, so I'm going to check that off now, and we're going to talk about. There was two ways that I was looking at it. So I changed this idea the other day when I was in the video. I was initially looking at it in this way. We were looking at this as potentially having some extensions here, where this becomes a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. It is still possible, and I mean we're going to go over it, but effectively I'm going to just turn some of this off now. It's not going to help. So this is very busy, and I apologize, but basically the whole idea is that these there would be extensions in the beginning here with a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and then effectively from here we'd actually be starting this green third wave to the downside. So if we do get a move deeper down here, towards that target area, we're talking about that 1397 to that 1378. What we need to watch out for is if we do move to the upside, is it only a three-wave move, and does it actually face rejection again in this zone here of this 1527 to this 1454 region? And this could then tie us into actually having a corrective move where this becomes a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then actually we've got some additional fourths and fifths, which we'd have to be looking out for. Is if we do form this as an additional 4 and a 5, we need to watch how we react in this fourth wave area again. If we keep getting rejected off of that 382 or that 236, potentially we could carry on looking for deeper moves here. And obviously this is just based off of fibs. These can change as the waves play out. Obviously they can extend out more and change these targets, but if it did play out to these target zones for each of these waves, potentially we could look for a completion down towards this 1268 to this 1218 region, if in this within this count. So if we do move down that deep now, it becomes we could then be looking for either this to just carry on extending out and we actually just break straight down through this 1150 zone and this 1175 zone, but alternatively we could actually look for a bigger retracement to the upside here, and I can actually remove this box off here, and then potentially we could look for that B wave to come back up into this zone over here where we look to complete this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We get another fourth wave up here, 5, another fourth up, 5, and then from there we get a bigger three-wave move to the upside. And this would then bring us into this potential zone here where we could look for this as a rejection area. Obviously, we'd have to be a little bit careful with how the structure exactly develops down here, because we are looking for that possibility of this green box area to be our support zone for a bigger move to the upside, where this could be an A, a B, and then actually we look to push up higher towards this 22,000, 2216 range. So that's only valid as long as we hold above this 1075. So we're going to have to keep tabs on this move to the downside as it plays out. So this is the one way we're looking at it. And effectively, like I said, the key area here to see is if we do get rejection with that fourth and that fifth that we're talking about in the extension, which would be this one here, this 1475 to this 1439. If we do get that play out, then it'll be key to see whether we get additional fourth and fifth waves playing out. If we do carry on extending down and we get these extensions within these waves and we get these additional fourths and fifths, which just keep pushing us down at that 382, 236, 50% region, then we can look for this continuation down, and this could extend out quite a lot down to the downside. The other way that I was looking at it, which is also viable, is instead of looking at those as individual ones and twos, I was looking at these basically as basically this whole move as a diagonal in here, where this becomes a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 to the downside. And what I was looking for there would that basically this would then become a 1, 2. This is this is sort of a neater way for it to be, and I am sort of leaning a bit more towards this option, but we'll have to see how that plays out. So effectively, what this would need is only one more fourth and a fifth to complete this sequence. So what I'd be looking for is, or I say one more on the bigger count here. But what I'd be looking for would be this potential, like I said, seeing this fourth wave play out up into this 1475 to this 1439 region, and then basically looking for that 5-wave move to the downside into this wave, into this area here, and then looking for that completion of this additional fourth wave to the upside. So I've drawn this within a channel. Obviously, this is sort of just rough at the moment because I'm just assuming that this wave 3 is going to be in line with this one here. It might not be exactly that. It might push a little bit deeper, or it might actually come back down and retest this channel. We'll have to see how that plays out. But effectively, that could change the position of where we're looking for this fourth wave after it does play out. But what I'd be looking for is potentially a move back up into this channel, then looking to see if we get a reaction in this zone of this 1527 to this 1453 area, and then looking for that continuation to the downside for an additional fifth wave. I don't actually have the target for that on here. Let me just do that quickly. If we say that it came into there and we came up into this 382 zone, that fifth wave target would be somewhere around this 1365 to this 1328. So this is valid for as long as we don't move back up past this zone of this 1557. If we do start to break back up there, then effectively we'd have to look at that corrective structure, like I said, where we look at this as an A, then we look for that retracement for a B wave, and then we look for that potential for a C wave later on. And in validation of this fifth wave over here, this is by moving back above this 1522. So we're going to have to keep an eye on it. It's hard, like I said, it's hard to do this in real time. This third wave could still be ongoing, and this could actually continue to push to the downside, and it would change all these sort of target zones. The ideas would remain the same. It's just where the fourths come in would change. So we'll have to keep an eye on it. And once we get a bit more wave structure here, we'll probably get a better idea. But yeah, this is our support box. If we start to lose this 1192, it becomes very improbable that we're going to continue to the upside with that C wave or that bullish potential where we're looking for that push up. Um, this 1293 to this 1272 range will be quite an interesting one. And I also wanted to just do this. If we are looking at this potentially as a diagonal, if we do see, oh, that didn't work. Let me get these on here. If we do see some extension down, potentially an area we might look for is this 2618, which would be this 1249, which would be the 702 retracement. This could be something that plays out. Obviously, we don't have um, confirmation that it's going to move that low yet. It doesn't have to move that low, but if it does look to continue extending down, keep an eye on this zone of this 2618 down here at this 1249, because we could get a reaction off of that if it does continue to progress to the downside. So yeah, I mean, for as long as we actually remain below this 1475 region, I am anticipating that we're going to get this additional fourth and fifth here, and then from there we're going to have to keep an eye on that move and see whether we just get a single fourth and a fifth, or whether we get a fourth and a fifth, then a fourth and a fifth, and it continues to just get rejected and pushed down deeper and deeper and deeper. If that is the case, then basically what I would be looking at is the fact that instead of this being a B, and a C wave to the downside, then potentially instead of this being a diagonal up here, then potentially that becomes more viable, that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 5, and so on and so forth. So that's what I'm looking out for. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find links to Discord. Come check it out. It's free to join. Everyone, have a great evening. We'll see you in the next one. Take care out.